Wayne Hauser with bassbite.com. I'm here with local fishing pro Maurice Freeze. Now Maurice has won a bunch of money fishing in North Carolina and South Carolina. One year Maurice was even the point champion for North Carolina and South Carolina at the same time in the BFL. And that's not easy to do because there's a lot of quality fishermen in North and South Carolina. Now Maurice is going to tell us a little bit today about how he catches fish, how he starts to pattern fish throughout the year in the lakes around North and South Carolina. Now Maurice, in February is usually when the tournament season starts. What do you look for on lakes like Lake Norman, Wiley, Kerr? In February, what are you focused on to catch fish?
Well, first of all, you kind of got to look at the water temperatures. At the end of February, you can start getting some warm days. Backseat Creek start warming up, or you can have some of the most extreme cold weather you got. You got the real cold weather situation. I'm going to be looking more main lake, mid creek, natural rock, probably with a small crankbait. If you got higher water, a little bit dirtier water, warmer season, I'm going to be looking towards the back in the dirtier water with a spinnerbait.
Okay. And then let's say as we move into March, the fish are starting to stage to spawn, but yet they haven't gotten up on the spawning flats yet. What are you doing there?
It depends on whether you're northern more Kerr or around here. Towards 1st of March is going to be, like you say, starting more towards the spawn deal, depending on the weather. Still going to be a pretty good crankbait bite. You're going to start, your bigger stringers are still going to start leaning more towards your spinnerbait bite and your jig bite.
Okay. Well, what are you going to be throwing them at? Are you going to still be fishing the rock, or are you going to move to docks, or what are you going to focus on during that period of time?
Well, your combination of rock and wood can be really, really good at that period of time. Both of those objects are going to hold heat.
Right.
And I think that's what those fish, I don't know if the fish are relating towards the heat, or you get more bait activity, crawfish and all, moving around towards the warmer structure.
Okay, so are you going to be fishing back in pockets, or are you still going to be out on the main deal?
You're going to have to feel that one out and see. It could be either way. Like I say, you could have had some really cold rains, and your backs of your creeks could be really cold, or it could be vice versa. If you've had some warm rains, your backs of your creeks could be really warm. So you got to pay attention to your weather as it goes along. Watch when you get rain and what the air temperature is when you get the rain, because that dictates how cold that new water is that's coming into the creeks.
Good tip. That's something I hadn't thought of. Now, in the spawn, what are you doing there? When the water temperature, in mid-April, water temperature gets up, 58, 60 degrees, what are you looking for there?
Looking for moving into the pockets.
Okay.
And depending on the lake, if you fish in a lake where you can see them, you're going to need to be sight fishing to do good. And if not, you're just going to have to visualize and know where those fish are going to be positioned as they're getting closer to their spawn, and fish your spinnerbait and jig. And just, you got to get it in one's face to get him to bite. And if he's there, he'll probably bite that time of the year. I
got you. And then, after the spawn's over, you start to move into the post-spawn period. The water temperature gets up a little bit. Do you like to fish shallow? How do you catch shallow fish in the post-spawn?
That's when it really start looking towards the top water bite. If you got your bass that are hatching, you got your pods of fry, you're going to have your male bass that are going to be guarding. Your weights, tournament weights, are going to be dropping because most of what you're catching are going to be male fish. So I'm going to target the male fish, catch me a limit. Maybe you catch a female somewhere along that's a little bit late in spawning up your weight.
Gotcha. And then after the post-spawn, we get into early summer, when the water starts to really heat up, what are you doing then?
Well, that's when I start looking more for shade. I'll be shallow water fisherman, I'll be looking more for docks or overhanging trees, something that's creating shade. Because they're going to want to sit in that dark spot. That's their ambush spot.
Okay. Now, are you looking for a certain water depth, or does it matter?
Not really. I mean, in your June period of time when they're just getting over the spawn, they can be on some really flat, shallow stuff. And they're just looking for shade, and they're looking for something to eat because they're hungry. You got a lot of brim that get up on these flats, and your shad, you could have a shad spawn, and they're going to be up on the shallow rocks and around docks and poles and stuff, and you're feeding more aggressive fish that have done progressed past the spawn, that's where they're gonna be.
I got you. And then after that period ends, you get into the heat of the summer, where it's July, early August, and it's just hot, and the shad spawn's well past. What are you doing then?
I sit in my recliner. That's when I get beat off the bank. I'm not a very good offshore fisherman, but that's when you got to start looking offshore.
Okay.
Those fish are going to move out, and I think they're following cooler water. They're going to just keep progressively sliding out, following that 60, 70 degree water temperature. And they're going to stay out there till it gets like it is right now in late July and August. The water temperature really gets hot, and you get the oxygen depletion, and the fish start scattering and coming back up.
Right. And then right now, we just fished a terminal High Rock, and we caught them on shallow docks and laydowns.
Mm-hmm.
All right, more kind of in the mid part of the creek. Is that generally what you're looking for?
That's what I'm looking for. If you got presence of bait, you get up and you get on your trolling motor and you see bait scooting around, you're in the right place. You just keep picking around. You're not going to get a whole lot of bites, but if you got the presence of a lot of bait, there's going to be some bass there.
I gotcha. And then as we get into the later fall, it gets into October, November, the water's really starting to cool down. What are you doing then?
That's a big time back of the creek bite, because majority of your shad in the lake have migrated back from at least the 3/4 part of the creek and back, and there'll just be tons of fish back there.
Okay, and you just have to find the one with the fish, right?
Yeah, and it's not going to. When you get on over into late October, it can be a real aggressive bite. October, November, but early October, it'll still be a slow bite. You're gonna be fishing for one bite at a time.
I gotcha. Well, guys, that should help you a lot. And these are some great patterns Maurice has just shared with you here for the North Carolina, Central North Carolina, Northern South Carolina area. Guys, if you go out there and it gives you a starting point to look for some fish. And we'll catch you next time on bassbite.com.